Hello viewers, welcome to Food Braggers Network. I hope you have enjoyed the many videos that I have already uploaded for you. If you are new to the channel and you haven't done so, please watch some of the recipes that I have already uploaded for you on Food Braggers Network. Here, we brag about food. I present to you great dishes. You try your hands on them, they taste delicious, then you join us and brag about them. Today I'm going to make homemade chicken broth. And I have a whole lot of ingredients that I'm going to show you that I'll be using to make this very delicious chicken broth. Here I have 1 pound of chicken. And I do have here 3 cups of chopped carrot. I'm going to also use some small bell peppers. So I have about 2 cups of that. I'm going to use red jalapeno peppers, yellow and red onions, and I'm going to also use some cherry tomatoes. I have shredded carrots that I will also be adding to that. If you have not seen my video on ginger flavored carrot drink, please watch that. That's where I got this shredded or blended carrot from. So I have here carrot mixed with ginger. I'm also going to have a whole array of spices that I'll add to this. I have dried rosemary leaves, minced garlic, parsley flakes, cilantro, thyme, granulated garlic, oregano leaves, and of course I'm going to top that up with a little bit of groundnut oil. I will not be putting a lot of oil, but just a little bit of oil to flavor this up. So now that I have shown you all the ingredients that I'll be using for this, I'm excited to go to the stove so that way we can put these recipes together and make some delicious chicken broth. Okay guys, so what I forgot to mention is that the chicken that I'm using is has the skin left on it. I did not remove the skin because the skin adds flavor to this the broth. Some people may not like the skin, and if you do not like the skin, definitely you could take it off. You could still make broth without the skin, but I like to leave the skin on the chicken so that I can have more flavor from that. And I also left out one ingredient, which is salt. I will also be adding salt to this dish. So what I did first was I have a pot of water on the stove. I added 3 cups of water and I allow it to steam up a little bit or warm up. Now that is done, I'm going to season that water with salt. So I'm adding some salt. Salt is to your own taste. For this recipe, I will be adding about 1 teaspoon of salt, but it's all to your own taste. So after seasoning the water with salt, I now toss in my chicken. I'm going to cover up that pot and allow that chicken to boil in that salty water before I now add my other ingredients. That should take about 5 to 10 minutes. Okay viewers, as you can see, my chicken is steaming up there. It's boiling. So now what I'm going to do is add all my dry ingredients. I have already measured up 1 teaspoon each of all the dry ingredients that I'm going to be adding to this. I will put a list of that so that you will see, but I already did show us all the dry ingredients that I was going to use here. So I measured up 1 teaspoon each, and now I'm adding all that into the pot. I'm also now going to throw in my onions. I had chopped both the red and the yellow onions. So now I'm putting them in there. So about half a cup of each. So 1 cup of onions in total. Again, I'm going to cover that pot up and allow it to season up with all the ingredients that I've added so far. So that's going to be another 5 to 10 minutes to allow everything to simmer in. It's been 10 minutes, viewers, since my chicken has been steaming up on the stove at high heat. So now what I'm going to add is going to be my carrot. So the chopped carrot that I had, I'm going to just toss that in there. And then I also add my cherry tomatoes, which I had cut into 2. I'll also add my minced garlic. So I have my minced garlic. I'm going to put 1 tablespoon of that minced garlic. And I'm going to give that a stir and allow it again to cook after stirring it for another 10 minutes, so that all the other ingredients that have just added, the carrot and the tomato, will also sizzle in their flavor into the meal. Oh, sorry, into the broth. I'll cover it up again and allow another 10 minutes. So viewers, it's been another 10 minutes since I've been boiling this, and if you like it a little bit spicier, you could now throw in some chili peppers. But I'm also going to now add my blended carrot and ginger, which I got from making my ginger flavored carrot drink. So I'm adding some of that to that recipe. And then lastly, I'm going to put in my red jalapeno peppers and my bell peppers. I do not want the bell peppers to overcook, so I put those last. And I'm going to now reduce the heat to medium and allow this to cook very slowly for another 10 to 15 minutes. And my broth will be ready. Now I'm going to put in just a little bit of peanut oil, not so much. This is broth, but because I'm going to use this broth to make a whole lot of meals, I add just a little bit of oil, maybe about a 1/4 cup of peanut oil to it. It adds a little bit more flavor to it as well. Viewers, my chicken broth is ready, so I'm going to nicely take out each piece of chicken that I have there. Unlike the chicken broth that we have sold in stores, whereby after making the broth they would sieve out all the ingredients that was used to make it, leaving just the broth, I will not do that here. I leave everything that I use besides the chicken in the broth, and I use that broth to make delicious meals. I'm going to start today by making seasoned rice using the broth that I have just made, so that you will see how I use my chicken broth. And if you had seen my previous video on chickpeas, you'll notice that I had used homemade broth in that recipe as well, and this is how I got that broth. Now the chicken that I have just taken out of this broth, what I do with this chicken is I'm going to grease a pan and then toss that in and maybe add a little bit more seasoning like black pepper on it, and then toss it into the oven and allow it to bake until it is golden brown. I'll show us that, and then of course, and I'll add it to my meals. So my chicken broth is ready. Like I said, I'm just going to put that aside, and now I'm going to make seasoned rice using that chicken broth. I have here long grain rice, which I've already rinsed a cup of it, and I'm putting here in this pot. I'm going to add a few scoops from my chicken broth and use that to cook that rice. Because the broth already has so many seasonings and flavors, I will not need to add any more to that rice. But I will taste the rice. However, if I notice that it needs a little bit more seasoning, I'll do that. Probably salt to taste. But otherwise, I'm going to use my broth to make my seasoned rice. Depending on the amount or the type of rice, you have to look at the type of rice that you're going to make and see how much liquid it requires. Some rice do not need so much water to cook, whereas some need a lot of water. So I always start it off with just covering the rice with my broth and allowing it to cook, and then from time to time I'll be checking if it needs more liquid. I'll put in a little bit more. So that's it. I'm going to allow that rice to boil on medium heat, and then I'll check if it needs more liquid, then I'll add more. But then I'll show us once it is tender. You cook the rice until it is tender, and then it's ready to serve using just that chicken broth. Okay guys, my seasoned rice is ready. Just 1 cup of rice with 2 cups of the chicken sauce that I made earlier. Put them together, boiled it, and my seasoned rice is ready. So here it is. And now I'm waiting for the chicken so I can have dinner. Guys, here is the chicken. I put it into a greased pan, season it up with black pepper and just a little bit more salt, and then tossed it into the oven at 350 degrees Fahrenheit for about 10 to 15 minutes, or until it is golden brown. Then I add it to my dish. Viewers, if you like this recipe, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, Food Braggers Network, and be one of those to be notified once I have uploaded new videos. Thank you.